Do you remember? All right, it's time to call back to the step counting lesson a little bit. Remember when I said that your fractions are just whatever they are when you left the last non-hostile area? That, for us, was running down to the party in Don Corneo's, which landed our fractions at 96. Now remember, though, the last hostile area that we were in was the reactor. And remember, the end of the reactor had that long, complicated setup to get us to leave on step ID 40. And I said that that was for a preemptive apps fight. That is finally about to happen. The reason that we left the Guard Scorpion fight with the Braver, and the reason that we did the setup to get onto step ID 40, and all of my talk about fractions and non-hostile areas versus hostile areas, and my talk about fraction neutral movement, like in that elevator, that is all about to pay off. So here we go. We are about to fight apps. Normally, on this part, you guys know it, what you do is you talk to both of your party members, and talking to both of your party members initiates the apps fight. And so, as you would usually see it, here it is. There's apps. Okay. Here's the setup, though. Here is the rest of the preemptive app setup. And don't worry, this part is very, very easy. So all you do is, after this dialog box, start buffering down and right and run. Down, right, run. And all the way until Cloud bonks into Tifa. So while you're still holding down, right, and run, press circle to talk to Tifa. Now that you're paralyzed and you're in a dialogue, you can release all those buttons and start holding up and run instead. So then start holding up and run. Then you bonk as you mash through the dialogue, or just circle through it. So then you hold up and run until you bonk into Eris. Then you can release up, hold right until you bonk right here, and then you can either add up so that it's upright, or you can add L. Either way, that gets Cloud to turn 45 degrees so that now you can talk to Eris. And what this achieves is that spent exactly 4 steps, which is 8 step IDs. That spent exactly 32 frames of movement. And so what that means is that put us on step ID 48, and notice our fractions are the same as when they came in. Because let's say that this setup was 4 steps plus a fraction, like it was 33 frames of movement. That would mean that if we came in on fraction 224, it would end up moving us 5 step IDs, and that would put us past the preemptive step ID. Because if I didn't already say it clearly, the whole purpose of the preemptive app setup is to initiate the fight on step ID 48. Because step ID 48 is a preemptive step ID, which you can see on Big Shoes here by the purple line here that our dot is on. So if it was 33 frames of movement, if we came in here at the ass end of a step ID, then we would end up with going too many step IDs, right? Or same thing like if it was 1 too less. So that's the importance of a fraction neutral movement here. Once again, it's very simple. It's just down right into Tifa and hit circle on her. As you're talking to her, switch to up. Bonk into Eris, go right, add up, hit circle, and now that was exactly 32 frames of movement, a fraction neutral 4 step IDs passed. That lands us on step ID 48, no matter what fraction we came in on. And now, when we get into the battle, we get a preemptive apps fight. Look at that. So there are 2 things that we earn from a preemptive fight. First of all, everybody starts with full ATB, while he starts with not full ATB. So he starts with empty ATB. So we get a whole turn. Everybody gets, as long as we make our selections quickly, everybody gets a turn before he gets a turn. Also, what that means is our first attack against him does... Normally, it's double damage against our first physical attack will do double damage against a preempted enemy. However, Apps specifically takes quad damage from a preemptive strike. So if we braver him and then throw a couple grenades, the braver does a shitload of damage. 487. Is quite a bit of damage. I wasn't very fast on my menuing though, so Eris didn't get a turn there. But that's because I didn't even do the full thing either. So there is one more thing to do. We're still on ATB active, remember. And remember the whole thing about how limits get prioritized in the queue? Okay, there is another weird thing. It's time to talk about throwing grenades. So the reason that we wanted grenades to be in the top slot of our inventory is because if you go up, circle, you select grenades. Why did I say up the second time, even though we're already right here? Because it means that you can buffer up and circle in order to throw grenades as quickly as possible. Another weird thing about grenades is that they don't end the enemy's preemptive cycle, or like the enemy's preemptive status. And so what that means is you can actually throw a grenade and then do a braver, and the braver will still do preemptive damage. And so what that means is that what you should do for this fight is you should come into the battle just holding up and circle, and you'll queue up a grenade with all 3 characters. Then you should start holding down and circle to queue up a braver with Cloud. And that braver with Cloud immediately gets prioritized in the queue. And even though the grenade visually turned Apps around, he's actually still in his preemptive state. And so this braver, even though Cloud already threw a grenade, this braver is still going to be preemptive quad damage. So not only did we get 3 turns for being preemptive, we got 4 turns for also sticking a limit break in there, and the limit break does quad damage. Those are all the benefits. There you go, 485. And then hold up and circle for Cloud once again to get him back down to grenade. So those are all of the benefits of doing a preemptive on Apps. So now, there was a little bit more nuance to the cursor memory there. So after all of what I just said, we also have to talk about cursor memory this whole time. So at first, when we initiate the fight, like I said, it's hold up and circle in order to get on grenade with everybody. So it's 3 grenades, and now everybody's cursors are on grenade. So, but now that means you have to hold down circle to wrap Cloud down to the braver. But now for Tifa coming up, she's already on grenade. So for her, you just hold circle to get the grenade. But now Cloud is back on attack. So for him, you hold up circle again. Then you're back to just circle. Now it's all circle. Yeah, Eris's grenade happens after the braver, but still before his first attack. So it's 3 grenades and a braver that happen. And for the rest of the fight, you just hold circle. And he's dead. Once again, you just got to think about your cursor memory on this fight. You want grenades with everybody. Boom, boom, boom. Then it's down circle to prepare for Cloud wrapping it back up to the braver. Then it's just circle for Tifa's next grenade. Then it's up circle again for Cloud's to wrap Cloud back down to grenade. And then it's just circle now that everybody's on grenade, and we just throw grenades. And now, if you want to be fancy, after Cloud throws that grenade, you only need to queue up 1 more grenade with Cloud, And that's going to be it. You're done after that. All right. So one more thing that I would like to show with apps are the notes for the fight. At least my notes for the fight. To give you just kind of a different way to soak in the information. Very simple. The strat for the fight is everybody throws grenades. Cloud uses Braver. Tifa Eris still throw grenades after the Braver. And then everybody throws grenades. That's it. That's the whole fight. But that is if it's preemptive. Yeah? So that's only if it's preemptive. Let's say that you're not getting a preemptive apps encounter. Alright, so let's say it's not preemptive. What you should do if it's not preemptive is start out with a bolt plus 2 grenades. And he'll probably get the first turn. But then you do 1 bolt and 2 grenades. And then during the grenades, just like always, queue up that Braver. And then it's just grenades after this. So up in circle for that grenade. And now you'll notice that the fight goes a lot worse. So the reason that you do the bolt at first is because it makes apps do Sewer Tsunami afterward instead of doing like lick. He can like lick people, which I believe he always licks the middle person. His AI has him always lick the middle person if possible, and we don't want Tifa to get licked. So it's a long animation. It's a bunch of bullshit. So yeah, do the bolt at first, plus the 2 grenades. Throw the Braver on top of it, and then do all grenades after that. Problem is, now we only have 12 grenades. So if you are not doing preemptive apps, and you're just doing regular apps, then I would highly, highly recommend you do that backup strat that I mentioned earlier about grabbing the ether and selling the ether and buying 30 grenades instead of 21, so that you have enough grenades to do a non-preemptive apps. But if you did get only the 21 grenades, and you did do the preemptive setup, you should definitely do the preemptive apps here. I would also go so far as to say, if you're not doing steps, you should at least learn preemptive apps, because that will teach you how to do steps for later, and it's only the first part of the game. It's not that difficult to do preemptive apps. You should probably just do preemptive apps, and then ignore steps after that, because it's just so good. So one more time, up in circle for grenades, then down in circle for the Braver, then just circle for Tifa's grenade, then up in circle for Cloud's next grenade. 952, that was a crit Braver! Okay, here's what happens if we crit Braver. Here's the 1 turn that he gets. Unfortunately, it was a pretty low roll Braver, so we didn't get the 1000 damage Braver. But there you go, he's already dead. So we had 12 grenades remaining after no preemptive. After a preemptive with a crit Braver, we have 16 grenades remaining. So we saved 4 grenades by doing that. 476, all right. So now that Braver rolled less than 480, which this might actually cause another thing to happen. If your Braver hits for less than about 480, and then also your grenade damage rolls are bad, it can actually cause... the next grenade that Cloud throws is the one that's supposed to kill him, and it might not if your rolls are bad. It did, though, because our rolls were fine. But yeah, if your grenades keep just hitting for 139, 140, and your Braver roll was bad, he might actually get another Sewer Tsunami in, and the Sewer Tsunami itself will kill him, which actually leads to a grenade saving measure that just costs a little bit of time. The thing is, if your grenades are rolling poorly, and your Braver rolled poorly, you don't have to throw that last grenade with Cloud because it's not going to kill him, but Apps' Sewer Tsunami will. Alright, and we have 13 grenades. It is now time to get out of Apps mode and into the next part of the walkthrough.